The next morning. The sun rise bright and early in Cameron Palace. Again, the birds singing were what rise Ash from his sleep. He then sit on his bed and stretch. It wasn't very long before the boy rise and wash himself. He then put his aura clothes on. It was the same outfit then Sir Aaron minus the staff. Ash will only receive the staff when he will become a full guardian. Pikachu wake at this moment and yawn. Hello Pikachu. Did you sleep well? Pika. Pika Pie, Pikachu. I sleep well too. You want to know why I'm wearing this? Pika. Do you remember what the queen asked me yesterday? She want the royal painter to paint my portrait. I don't see the importance of that, but she is my queen, so I must obey her command. And, you will be in that portrait too. There is no way that I will suffer that alone. Pikachu was about to protest when there was a knock at the door. It was one of the queen's personal servant. The young lady in waiting made a formal bow to the boy and tell him that the lady was waiting for him for breakfast and that the painter will come right after. Ash thank her and take Pikachu in his arms before following the young woman. It wasn't long before they arrived near the lady's suites. There wasn't many people around this early, but Ash could see that Sir Lance and Sir Keith were already there. This annoyed him a little. Not that the company was bad, but the fact that he will have to sit tight and not moving for several hours under the jokes of these two. That will be torture pure and simple. Sir Lance approached him and talked to him. Good to see you, lad. Ready to be immortalized. Very funny, Sir Lance. You take too much pleasure in my misfortune. The breakfast started when the lady sit at her table, and it wasn't long enough for Ash's taste. The painter was there when they finish, and the torture start right after. 3 hours later, Ash couldn't sit still even if his life depended on it. Exasperated, the painter sigh and speak to him. Please Sir Ashton, stay still. I'm almost finished with the drafts. I will start the painting as soon as I finish these. Sir Keith then start talking while unsuccessfully hiding an amused smirk. Yes, my boy, stop moving. You're ruining your portrait. Ash sent an angry look in his direction. His legs were cramped as well as his arms. Pikachu, who was on his shoulder, was trying to stay awake. Stop moving, stop moving. Easy for you to say. I've been at this for 3 hours. I can barely feel my legs as it is. And my arms are falling asleep. Can we take a break so I could stretch a little? Of course, sir. The painter replied. Ash has a relieved sigh after that and rise from his seat. He was barely holding up and needed something to bring back the feeling in his legs. Pikachu yawned before jumping on the floor. This kind of thing was so annoying. He was going to make Ash pay somehow. Ash was stretching his legs and his arms, glad to finally be able to move. The queen was observing everything with an amused smile. She knew that staying still for hours on end was not Ash's style. For an active boy like him, that activity was boring. After a break of 15 minutes, the young apprentice returned to his place and start again. It takes another 2 hours before the painter is satisfied with his work. The queen then speak with the artist. How long before we have the final portrait? Give or take 2 weeks, your highness. I will work as fast as I can, but I can't rush this and I don't want to ruin everything by going too fast. That's all right. Take your time, this is not an emergency. I will wait for it. Maybe we can hang it next to the one of Sir Aaron. Of course, your highness. Do you prefer a portrait where he is sitting or when he is standing? Standing, please. While the queen was discussing what she want on the portrait, the two knights were teasing the young boy, saying that they will have to chase the ladies with a pole after the portrait was hung. Ash was severely blushing. As Sir Aaron's apprentice, he was considered a good potential husband for many of the nobles' daughters. And, add the fact that many ladies found him very cute and there were many girls chasing after him. At the moment, the one who was leading the chase was Lord Barion's niece. At the dam of her uncle. Ash was taught by his mentor to always be a gentleman, so he didn't know how to tell a girl that he wasn't interested. At least, not without causing sadness in the girl, and he didn't want to do that. Beside, how did a guy could tell a girl that he wasn't interested in her without harming her feeling? He was still searching for a good answer. And he didn't want to ask the two knights unless he wanted to be teased about it forever. And, with the personality of Lady May, the niece in question, he will not be able to evade her much longer. She always seemed to know his hiding place somehow. Even the excuse of training did not deter her. She will just wait outside the training field and wait for him. Fortunately, she was not there at the moment. She was visiting family and Ash's new master should have arrived before she does. Hopefully. After a time, the queen dismissed them and the three knights were walking in the corridors. They were about to go training again when a voice made Ash sweat drop. Ashy. I'm so glad to see you. Rats. Hello, Lady May. It's been a long time. I thought you were visiting family. My father decided to visit my uncle and I couldn't refuse to come with him. Isn't it great? Yeah, but I must go now. Training, you know. Again. Each time I come, you're always training. How about we go into town after that? I want to go shopping and I'm sure you will have time after your so important training. Ash was about to say no, but the girl added that it was decided. Ash will escort her to town after his training and her face tell him that he was better to not say no. He then nod with a sweat drop and he see then the girl going after blowing a kiss his way. The two other knights were watching, barely holding in their laugh. As soon as the girl disappeared in another room, they didn't hold it anymore and start laughing. Sir Keith then spoke to the young man with an amused gaze. Well, Ashy, we better start training now if we want you to have time to prepare for your date with the beautiful Lady May. Bugger, when will she get the message that I'm not interested? This is so embarrassing. Ash says. And stop laughing you two. It's not funny. I beg to differ. Add Sir Lance. Even Pikachu is finding this funny. In fact, the little mouse Pokemon was rolling on the floor, laughing. Just the face of his trainer was so funny. He can't wait to hear about his little expedition in town with the girl. At this moment, he see Ash smirking in his direction and the little electric type knew that it was never a good sign for him. Ho, you find that funny, don't you Pikachu? What if I tell Lady May to bring Smoochum with her? After all, I don't want you to feel alone while I go shopping. It would be dreadful. Beside, Smoochum is so enamored with you. It would be cruel to her to lose the chance to see you. Okay, now he was done for. Pikachu couldn't stop shivering when he thought about this Pokemon. If the mistress of this one was enamored with his trainer, it was nothing compared to what that girl Pokemon could do to him. She always tried to kiss him and be close to him. He think now that he could understand what his trainer mean when speaking of that lady. The two knights doesn't miss a part of the show playing out before them and were now laughing about the face the little yellow Pokemon was doing. These two were really a good match. The reaction of Ash and Pikachu was so synchronized that it was amazing. Even without talking, these two could understand each other quite well. Sir Lance couldn't stop thinking about the relation between the young Aura Guardian and the Pokemon around. Even with Sir Aaron around, the Pokemon always flocked the young boy like glue. He couldn't remember a time when it was surprising to see a Butterfree landing on the boy's head. That happens a lot. That are Pokemon from all around who came to the young boy to be pet. He sometime wonder if the rumor around town was true that the boy could calm even the more vicious Pokemon. He will have to wait and see. In the meantime, they have training to do and a young man to prepare for his date. Well, enough about that. We should go to training before the lady returned for her escort. We also have a young man to prepare for his date. Sir Lance, leave it, please. No more teasing, said Ash, blushing. All right, my boy. I'll stop, for now. Good. Beside, you will have to come too. You are my bodyguards, remember? Yes. Let's just hope that the young lady doesn't take our presents too bad. The three start walking again when Sir Keith comment that by the way that the lady was looking at the boy, he doubt that she will remember that they were there. They just have to stay at a fair distance. Not too far in case of an emergency but not too close to not disturb them. Later, in town. The town was much more livelier than the palace. The streets were full of people doing their market, the kids ran in the streets to play and the merchants called for the people to sell their merchandises. Between the stall, Lady May was testing this clothes or trying the jewels at another stall. Not far behind her, Ash was following with the many packages of the lady. He just hoped that the torture would be over soon. His arms were killing him and he couldn't wait to leave the packages in the lady's room. Pikachu wasn't better since he carried the little trinkets that the girl bought for her Smoochum. The little pink and red Pokemon was on her mistress' side, giving her advices for this or that. The other two knights were following at a safe distance, always keeping their eyes on the boy they were charged to protect. For the moment, all was well. Lady May was advancing in the middle of the stalls when she suddenly stopped. She then walked directly in a clothes store. She then turned to see where her crush was. She was satisfied to see that the boy was following her. She wanted to have his insight on the dress she just have seen. So, she entered the shop and Ash followed at a more sedated pace while balancing all the packages. He put them down on the floor in the shop with a relieved sigh. Why does girls always buy too much in the market? They can always return if they forget something. Pikachu put his own packages near his. He too looked relieved. Hopefully, it will be the last shop and they can return to the palace after that. He looked in the shop for the lady and found her indeed talking with a seamstress discussing what kind of clothes will look good on her at the next event. Ash don't understand the in and out of fashion. For him, his clothes are okay. He doesn't need more. After all, he doesn't want to be a bother since all of his expenses are filled by the kingdom's coffer. He doesn't have rich parents to pay for all this. So, his needs are modest. He was there in his reflections when he heard a commotion coming from the marketplace. The people in the shop doesn't seem to have heard the shouting outside for the moment. He tell Pikachu to stay there to protect the lady just in case and goes out to see what was the problem. Outside, people were running to evade a rampaging Tauros. The bull Pokemon seemed to try to chase something. Ash run to one of the merchant to speak to him. What happened? Why did Tauros act this way? He was attacked and stung by a Beedrill. Now he is completely out of control. The merchant says, panicking. Ash nod then run to the bull Pokemon. He was followed by the two knights. They arrived just in time before Tauros run to a group of kids who were paralyzed in fright. Ash put himself between the rampaging Pokemon and the group of children. He then used his aura by creating a bubble around Tauros. The bubble stopped the Pokemon from attacking everything in sight. He then approached it slowly, talking in a calming voice enhanced by aura to calm the Pokemon. It's all right, Tauros. Calm down. The Beedrill is gone now. Hush now, calm down. Everything is all right now. He approached slowly to calm the bull Pokemon. Tauros heard the voice piercing against his panicked and hurt mind. He then slowly begun to calm down. The voice was full of kindness and warmth. His heartbeat slowed down and he started mooing calmly. Ash let the bubble disappear and put his hand on the bull Pokemon's head. It's all right now. Poor Tauros. Stung by a Beedrill. That must have hurt. He continued to calm the Pokemon until the owner of Tauros appeared, out of breath. He had run all the way to catch his Pokemon. When he saw the circle of people, he had feared the worst. Hoping that his Pokemon hadn't killed anyone. What he found was a young man in the garb of an Aura Guardian calming his friend. The people around were in awe by what they have seen. The kids who were now safe were trying to approach Ash but the presence of the Pokemon keep them at bay. The farmer approached them and starts speaking to the Aura Guardian. I'm so sorry, my lord. That Tauros is mine and, when I saw what happened, I tried to stop him but that big rascal was way faster than I. I just hope that he doesn't hurt anyone. Everything is fine. He doesn't hurt anyone. The damages are purely materials, fortunately. I'm just glad I was there to calm him down. After all, a Beedrill sting does hurt a lot. I know from experience. Now, I think our friend here is ready to return to his farm, don't you think? Yes, my lord. I'll be doing that right away. Come, Tauros, it's time to go home now. The bull Pokemon moo one last time and start to follow the farmer out of the village. Without the big Pokemon around, the younger kids start flocking the Aura Guardian, giving him big hugs to thank him. The parents weren't any better, thanking him to no end, relieved that their children were all right. The boy was blushing with all the praises he was receiving. He then returned to the shop with the two knights. Lance was admonishing him for the risk he take. He concluded his tirade with a little smile. Well, now that everything is said and done. Well done, my boy. Now I know that the rumors are true. What rumors? Asked Sir Keith. The rumors that said that our young friend here can calm even the rampaging Pokemon. It seems it is true. Ho, hush. I was just helping. Nothing extraordinary. Says Ash. They returned to the shop and saw that Lady May was waiting for them. She too had seen what happened and Ash couldn't help starting to feel a little out. The way she looked at him with this calculating gaze was very unnerving. As was what she'd tell him while they were returning to the palace. How in hell should he know how her wedding dress should be like? He doesn't expect to be there when that happened. Hopefully. The castle's servants were a big help when they arrives, taking the packages from Ash's arms to bring them to Lady May's suites and telling her that her father want to see her immediately. The girl made a little pout but complied. Just before she goes, she thank Ash for the escort and kiss him lightly on the cheek before going, leaving the poor boy who was heavily blushing in the corridors. Ash then look at his knight's friends and his look told them that he will sick Pikachu on them if they ever talk about that to someone. In the meantime, Lady May has just entered when the servants tell her that her father wanted to see her immediately. She sigh and leaves her crush behind. Why did her father always intervene in time like this? She would have tried to make Ash invite her for dinner after that day. But of course, her father stopped that from ever happening. Now, who knows when she would be able to meet the boy. She couldn't stop remembering what happens in the afternoon. How her crush helped by using his fantastic powers. He was so dreamy, so heroic. She couldn't stop giggling about the look of Ash's face when she kissed him. He blushed. He was so adorable. She sighed before entering her father's room. She then saw him and his uncle. Hello daddy, hello uncle. Hello sweetheart. How was your afternoon? Did you have good time at the market? Her father asked. Yes daddy. The weather was nice. So was the company. Really? And with whom did you go? A nice boy perhaps. Daddy, don't tease me, said the girl, blushing. I'm sorry, my dear. So, who was your escort? It was Sir Aaron's apprentice, wasn't it? Her uncle says. The girl nodded. She never knew what her father and her uncle had against her Ashi. His manners were surely not the cause because he always had impeccable manners in front of them. He always treat her like a lady and never push for something. He was also modest and never asked for something too expensive. And he never tried to impress unlike some of the noble's sons. The only thing that could make her father disagree with her choice was the boy's upbringing. He was born a commoner but that was a very long time ago. Her father sighed. Honey, you know we talk about this. He's not the one for you. But daddy, what do you have against him? Sir Ashton always treat me well. It's not that, sweetie pie. It's more his career's choice. I have nothing against the Aura Guardians but once he will become one, his entire life will be dedicated to serve and protect the kingdom. He won't have the time to pamper you like you deserve. I want you to find a husband that will always be there for you and, unfortunately, that young man won't be able to do so. Now, it is time for dinner. Go wash your face, my darling. And bring a smile back in that pretty face of yours when you return. All right, daddy. The girl leaves her father and her uncle while she was going to wash her face and her hands. She understand her father's point but she was sure that he was wrong concerning her crush. While she was gone, Lord Edward turns to his brother. He was still unsure of the decision of his older brother and couldn't stop thinking that something was wrong with the plans of the hunters. Personally, he had nothing against the boy. He met him on several occasions and he doesn't see him as a threat. His musing was interrupted when his brother spoke. The poor girl will be heartbroken when the plan will take place. Are you sure that joining the hunters was a good decision, brother? I couldn't stop thinking that we made a big mistake. I have nothing against putting the Aura Guardians in their place but are you sure that this will be the only thing they will do? Lord Barrion kept his silence for a little while. He never tell his brother that the Aura Hunters will kill all the Guardians. He never intend to tell because he knew that his brother will disagree with the plans. His brother was always a simple man, never asking for more power than what he already have. He looked at his brother before he answered his question. Of course, they will. The Aura Guardians will have to abide to certain conditions and release power on certain subjects. Nothing more. They will have some restrictions of course but nothing life-threatening. Don't worry so much, brother. All will be fine. If you say so.